with me a minute. It says I am live, okay? Yeah, keep working on Rumble. And if necessary, I can change that. Guys, just waiting to go live, though.
I have used live.
Okay, hello, YouTube coin community. It's me, Robert, with COINTALK. Today we got a wonderful show. We're going to talk about Morgan dollars. Everybody loves a Morgan dollar. I believe it is the #1 collected series in the entire world.
The big red book.
First, we're going to do me a favor. Go, I think it's over that way, into the chat. We have a poll. Do me a favor. Answer the poll. Let us know if you want to hear about the coin schedules each week from Brad. But for now, today, you are going to see him because Brad is here with the news. And I'm sort of kind of wasting some time because I know he's busy doing something else in order that they can get him to the news. But I'm about to say much. So here we go, guys. Here is Brad with the news on coins for this week.
Well, hello, everybody. All the news that's not fit to print. CAC Grading has started their registry sets and they're now open. So those of you that play the registry game may want to consider doing the CAC Grading registry. They also include coins from other grading services. So you don't have to have all CAC graded coins to be in. The Central States Numismatic Society, big show, May 1st through 4th, Schaumburg, Illinois. $15 a day, $30 for a 3-day pass. Opens at 10 a.m. every day. Free parking in the Chicago area, which is worth its weight in gold. Educational presentations at the meetings. And I'm going to be at table number 1400. So those of you that are showing up, please come by, introduce yourself, and say hello at table 1400 and spend lots of money. Going to the coin shows, the smaller shows on April 28th. The Trevios Coin Show in Trevios, Pennsylvania. Nicollet Coin Show, Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Peatone Coin Show in Peatone, Illinois. Ohio Coin and Collectible Show, Westlake, Ohio. The Palm Beach Coin Show. It's a monthly show. It's in Green Acres, Florida. If you go, say hello to the Douglases and get me some Arnold bacon while you're there. The Old Bridge Coin and Currency Show in Old Bridge, New Jersey. New England Coin Show in Devons, Massachusetts. Nick, are you going? Steve Middleton Memorial Coin Show in Hackettstown, New Jersey. Following on May the 4th, the Hershey Coin Show in Palmyra, Pennsylvania. Muskegon Coin Show in Grand Haven, Michigan. Coinocopia, Tampa, Florida. Knoxville Coin and Currency Show in Knoxville, Tennessee. The North County Coin Show in Anaheim, California. Following on the 5th of May, Decatur Coin Show, Decatur, Indiana. Garden State Coin Show, Parsippany, New Jersey. The South Jersey Coin Show in Lindenwold, New Jersey. North Metro Coin Show, Maple Grove, Minnesota. Gold Coast Coin and Stamp Show, Hollywood, Florida. Brunswick Coin Show in Topsham, Maine. Another one that Nick might be at. Universal Coin Show in Fairview Park, Ohio. And other news, the PNG announced their annual scholarship award. Donovan Floyd, age 19, is claiming that one this year. He gets to go to the American Numismatic Association summer seminar for free. The National Coin and Bullion Association has announced that Kentucky will be tax-free on coins and currency August the 1st, as long as the governor doesn't win his appeal. So we're waiting for the governor to decide if he's going to court or not to try to keep us from gaining that exemption. And Whitman announces that the 2025 Red Books have been shipped. I can tell you they have been because I got mine today. So your local dealer or your internet dealer will have 2025 Red Books. That is the news as it's fit to print. Back to you, Robert.
Hey, thank you, Brad.
Hi, Robert. Looks like Joe, actually.
Yeah, you know, we flip-flop. Well, Thank you, Brad. Good info. Next up, we're going to have, well, hey, welcome everyone. We're going to have Nick's Coins and Brad Karoleff. We're going to do a talk on Morgan dollars. So sit back, enjoy, get your questions ready. Thank you, guys.
Back again. Well, there's Robert.
Hey, everybody. Okay, I just wanted to let you guys know real quick. Sorry, we're having problems on Rumble, technical difficulties. I don't know if there's DDoS out there. I do know that another stream I was watching yesterday was having technical difficulties with Rumble. So we are right now. However, if you're on Rumble, hopefully you'll be able to watch this as a repeat. But now we're going to take it on, run it over to Brad and to Nick, and they're going to be discussing, again, the #1 series in the whole world, which is the Morgan Dollar series. So here you go, guys.
Hi, Nick. Take your mute off there. Ah, that's
There.
better.
Can you hear
Now
me
we
now?
can hear you.
So this is
So-
an interesting series, huh?
It is. We're going to do a little bit like we did last week, I think, where we get some questions and answers from Nick, and then we're going to take everybody else as they send their questions in on the side here and try to answer all of your questions. And we'll be a little less prepared than we were last week because I know a little more about bus coins than I do Morgan dollars. So, Nick, where are we going?
Thank goodness that I actually wrote the answers to all my questions because I figured you might have some problems. I'm just kidding. Well, I thought we could first start off with the series when it began and when it ended.
It began at the beginning and ended at the end, which
Well,
would be 1878 and 1921.
and then again in 1921.
Yes, 1878, 1921, beginning end.
It was the first dollar minted, or silver dollar minted since the Act of 1873. Can you tell us about that?
No, well, the act of 1873, I believe, reduced the weight of the silver in coinage and gave a new standard in which all the coins would be minted from there on.
Yeah,
How
it
close
ended
did I get, kid?
it ended the free coining of the silver and production of the previous design seeded Liberty dollar.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah. So
The
who?
new Morgan dollar would be slightly lighter in weight, right?
Yes.
Wow,
So,
thank
so who was Morgan, the designer?
Morgan.
Very good. And and it was designed. The model was who?
Oh, I don't know who modeled the Morgan dollar. I'm sorry. Hey, you've got the answer right there in front of you. Why
Well-
don't you enlighten us?
Anna Williams, and she was a
Oh.
teacher in Philadelphia.
She was.
She was, and she passed away in 1926. So she actually saw the production end with her face on it. So, but she
Wow.
was, yeah. So
How
she,
neat.
yeah. So tell us, in the 1960s, a large quantity of Morgans were found in original bags in the Treasury vaults, and people were free to purchase face value. Why were there so many in the vaults left?
Are you asking me that because I was around in the early 1960s?
No,
Are you
but it was
insinuating that I'm old? They were just they were stored there, weren't they? Kind of like the bust halves, weren't they? Part of kind of silver certificate storage.
yes, they
Ah,
were,
there we
and then they stopped. They stopped giving the silver
That's right.
certificates.
And then people started going to the banks and getting silver dollars to give as Christmas presents and
Right, and they purchased them.
christening gifts and birthday gifts and all those kind of good things. And then collectors decided, maybe I can find some rare ones
Yes,
in what's here.
but what's interesting is they got them for face value.
They did. You could go and get all you wanted. You know, people, collectors would go and buy $1,000 bags and hoping to get rare ones and look through them. And they didn't like it when they got solid date bags of uncirculated coins because there was no chance of getting good ones in there if you got all 1904 O's or 83 O's or 84 O's. And so people, much like they do today, with coin roll searching with $50, so they would take them back to the bank, and the bank would go, well, you just got this $1,000 bag and you're bringing it back. And you go, yeah, well, there were no good ones in there. So they got tired of, trading heavy bags of dollars back and forth. So, it is kind of neat. But so Nick, can you tell me what infamous silver dollar used to be rare and is not anymore because of the number that came out in these bags in the early 1960s? I've already given you a hint. I've mentioned it once already today.
What is it?
Look at a really old red book. A 19040 Morgan dollars used to be rare.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to get to that in just a minute, though. But first,
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I step on your toes?
well, no, but
Just a
I
little.
wanted to ask you one thing, too, because I skipped a question. And I don't know the answer to this one, Brad. Okay.
Okay.
So why were there millions melted in 1918?
Because they wanted to melt them. That was part of the Sherman Act, but I don't know the reasoning behind the Sherman Act. So Robert, quick, Google the Sherman Act and come back and tell us why. So, okay, there we got somebody working on it. The staff is working on it.
We have our producers working on that for us.
That's
so in
right.
the 1970s, they did the same thing with the Morgans. They took a lot out of the vault.
Well, because the price of silver was up and they could make money.
Okay, so.
But they also, what did they do with the Carson cities? They boxed them up and sold them to collectors.
Right, and that was in the early 1970s.
That's correct.
So
do you have any Nixon dollars?
Any what
No?
dollars?
Nixon, they call them Nixon dollars because if you look in the
yes, I
little
read
black
about that.
box, if you look on the inside lid, Richard
Yep.
Nixon, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll talk about the O's. Now, why were they now the production they weren't as good as the other Morgans? Why is that?
When you say there weren't as good a production, what do you really mean, Nick? You mean they're not struck as well as the other
Right,
coins?
exactly. Yes, they're not
Okay.
as struck as well as the other mints. Why is that?
They had weaker presses in New Orleans.
Yes, but
They
why?
weren't bolted down as well. They bounced around a little bit. I don't know the actual reason. There's a lot of speculation.
What's the
but-
speculation? That
Huh?
that the press-
Speculation. We think we know, but we're not really.
What are they? What do they speculate the problem could have been?
That the minting pressure wasn't turned up as high in New Orleans in
Or the
order
equipment the new equipment wasn't changed over as fast as the other mints.
wasn't changed over, was not bolted down to the floor tight enough. There's a lot of things you could look at, but it was a pain in the butt for the New Orleans Mint to get their dies from Philadelphia. So they might have turned down the striking pressure a little bit to save wear and tear on the dies.
Very good.
They didn't get used dies, Frank. Frank Mons, they say, they got used dies? No. All of the die production was in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia would make the dies, ship them to the branch mints where they would add the mint mark at the branch mint. And then they would put them into production. So if they ran out of dies, they had to shut down production until they could get a new shipment from Philadelphia, because that is where they produced all of the dies. The branch mints did not make their own dies. They just added the mint mark. Oh, with all the over mint marks made me wonder. Right. So they sent the dies to New Orleans, for example, in 1900 over CC. Well, they got a reverse that was previously inscribed O for New Orleans from when the New Orleans Mint was still open. When they closed up shop, they sent the die back to Philadelphia. It laid around in Philadelphia for a while, and then they sent it back out to the Carson City die. They sent to New Orleans, and then they put the mint mark over the top of the CC. So Carson City put the mint mark on, didn't use the die, sent it back. They sent it to New Orleans. New Orleans put the O over the CC, and that's how we get the over mint mark. If you're talking about like S's over S, O over O, those are repunched mint marks. They didn't quite get it in deep enough or where they wanted it the first time, so they would move it around a little bit.
Were there any Morgans that were considered proofs?
Yes. They made proof Morgans in most of the years, the most famous being, Nick?
1895.
Very good. That's,
Because the mintage was only 880.
are you sure?
Yeah.
That's just the reported mintage. They might have made 881. How do you know that's not true?
Well, because
You believe what the
David-
government tells you.
no, because David Bowers told me that.
Oh, okay. All right. So 880. We'll go with that. There's Robert. What do you need, Robert?
I was just going to ask you, are you sure it was the Sherman Act and not the Pittman Act of 19?
Oh, Pittman Act, Sherman Act. One of
I
those.
just wanted to interject that because I didn't want no bad information out there.
No, and Robert's right, because there were several different acts throughout the production of Morgans.
Well, the Pittman's one I think that Brad
Yes.
was referring to. And I just want to take and make one thing very clear, folks. In coins, a lot of times, what Brad was just talking about over mint marks, I read it by a different author that was a little bit different, very minor detail, as opposed to them returning a die back to Philadelphia. The way I read it, and I believe Brad, this is from Arnie Margolis. We both know him, or we both knew him. He's since passed, but in his book, he said that it would go directly from New Orleans and be shipped over to Carson City, or vice versa. In the one you're referring to, the 1900 O over CC, it would have came from Carson City. And I was told that it was just shipped directly to New Orleans, but you could be correct. I'm not certain. I wasn't there, and I never seen paperwork officially from the mint on it. And I do know they keep that kind of record.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, take me out of there. I'm gonna let you guys go back to playing together. Have fun.
In 1878, why was the reverse changed halfway through production?
You mean from 7 to 8
there's-
to 7
yes.
over 8?
Yes.
Nick, you're going to have to help me there. What
Oh, I didn't write-
what does your answer say?
I forgot to write that one down, but I believe it's because the eagle only had I don't know. But
Robert,
I read it, but I forgot.
oh, okay.
didn't
Maybe
know
Robert
this.
knows from collecting VAMs why they changed from 8 tail feathers to 7 tail feathers. Sorry, don't know that one off the top of my head.
I should have written out. I got in a hurry, so I could only write my questions down on the second part of. So on the first part, I did write all my answers down. Next time, I'll know.
Well, that's okay.
So tell us. Well, now that you just said VAM, why don't you tell us what that is?
Well, Van Allen Malice are the two authors that did the work on studying Morgan dollar die varieties. So again, like bust halves we talked about last week, the dies are all identifiable if you look very closely. Now, Morgan dollars are more hubbed than the bust halves were. So the differences are minute sometimes. And they went through and looked at coins with a microscope and noted the differences so that we today can identify the different obverse and reverse dies that came together to make a marriage. And those are called VAMs for the Van Allen Malice authors. And each coin you get, each Morgan dollar is a different VAM. They were made from a different set of dies. So when people say, well, I collect VAMs, every Morgan dollar has a VAM number. Most people just don't bother to identify it. Some of them have very little interest to collectors. Others sell for very large premiums. And much like cherry picking in the bus coins or cherry picking the over mint marks, etc., you can cherry pick interesting and rare VAM varieties. So if you buy a book and study it, you could make money buying coins from people that don't bother to attribute their coins.
Let's see if you know this one.
Nope.
Have you ever heard of, his last name is Rice? Of course, George Rice.
No, you got me there. Who's George
Okay.
Rice?
He wrote the first paper, the first significant dye research published in 1878 for the Morgan dollars.
So he identified the 7 and the 8 tail feather and the 7/8, etc.
Yes, and he wrote after that several different papers, but I thought that was interesting that back then they were already starting to research significant dyes back then.
Very
And
cool. Thank
Eras
you.
and varieties. You're welcome. Probably should have finished reading my book. Could have taught you a lot. Well,
we try to learn something new every day.
this is one of the books that was in my library, and I started reading even before I started collecting coins way back when. So I just never read it all.
Yes, pick up one from your local dealer if you're interested.
I mean, it
in,
is
Morgan dollars.
I mean, I was looking through it last night, and it has a lot of great information in there.
Okay, numismatic news.
I know that there was an explanation in this book too, but I don't recall
Reduce
that.
the relief, etc. Okay, there we have it.
Oh,
The
according to Dallas.
producers back at the studio have come up with the answers.
I mean, seriously, this show is top notch. So VAMs are worth more than just
No.
So tell us.
Some VAMs are worth more. Like some Overton numbers are worth more than others. Every Morgan dollar has a VAM number. That doesn't mean that every Morgan dollar is rare, right? So some VAMs are worth more than others.
So what would you say is the most rare of the Morgan dollars? What year?
Now, when we say what year,
Yes, you'd have to say, and also what mint.
Okay, well, the 93S for business strike sells for the most. The 95 proof is definitely the rarest.
What about 1893S?
Well, I said 93S for business strike.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There you go. And how many were minted? How many were minted that my book said?
I don't know. What is I have to look it up.
100,000.
Yes, there you go. I knew you were going to ask that question. I have my handy dandy red book next to me, but yes.
So in 1921, why did they resume production after having had stopped it in 1904?
I don't know why.
I don't know either. That's why I asked you. And what mint did they mint them?
Well, in 1921, they made them in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And if you are collecting a mint mark set of Morgan dollars, you must have the 1921D because it is the only Denver mint Morgan dollar produced.
Yes. So 2021 and 2023.
Oh, those don't count.
I don't like them either. I don't think that they should have.
It's not that I don't like them. It's they're not part of the real
series. So you don't think that you need that to complete a set? You don't need those.
In my opinion, no.
Okay, in your opinion, no. Because I have heard other collectors say yes. But
well, that's fine. You can have your opinion.
I've never been a fan. I've not been a fan, and I've said from the very get-go I didn't like the 2021s because they had, like I say, Morgan leap year for the 22, and then you had a 23 come out. So I didn't care for them. And I think that if they were going to do it, they should have done it exactly the way they did it with the 90%.
Right. Let's see. Wisdom Quotes came in a little while ago and said, why are some Morgans have a die crack? Why are they come for cracked dies? Well, every coin die has the opportunity to crack. And yes, the die was stressed from production. Some of the dies were produced better than others. Some were over hardened and became brittle. And just the layout of the design a lot of time facilitates the cracking of a die. So when you use the die, there's stress on the die, and between the stars is a popular place for the die to break because of the stresses of putting the stars into the die and the lettering around the periphery of the die, it stresses the metal to begin with. And then as the coins are struck, you have the stresses to the die of the struck planchet expanding in that area. So all of those go into cracking the dies. If you look at actually like shield nickels and Liberty nickels, nickel dies cracked a lot more than silver dies because nickel was a harder metal and much more difficult to work with. But so that was not something they intended to have happen. That was a flaw that they had to live with. I believe, they didn't produce dollars from 05 to 20 because they really just didn't need any. They had plenty left over from earlier years. Now, you have to remember that in the 1870s, hey, Nick, in the 1870s, what monumentous thing happened in the Western United States that facilitated the production of Morgan dollars?
The Wild Wild West. I don't know. Gambling.
Well, you're close. The Comstock lode of silver was discovered in Nevada. That's why the Carson City Mint was made where it is. But the Comstock lode was a huge silver mine that was discovered. And they had to start figuring out, what are we going to do with all the silver? And so people decided, we needed to make silver dollars. In fact, that was a big political problem at the time. The Western mine owners wanted the U.S. government to buy silver to produce coins. And they traded their votes for Eastern projects in order to then make the government buy huge amounts of silver that they minted into Morgan dollars that they didn't need for circulation, that they stuck in vaults that eventually turned up in the early 1960s and the early 1970s for collectors.
Because they didn't really want to mint the Morgans in the beginning. They didn't want to do a silver dollar.
Not really, no. But it
was a hard sell for the government.
What's the cheapest way we can get rid of the silver that we are being forced to buy? And it was to make dollars. And dollars circulated mainly in the West. They were not. They
were hugely popular, though, in the West.
Yes, they were.
And they were used in gambling and casinos, and
they were. This just in, handed to me by my correspondent here in Florence, Kentucky.
I need to get one of those.
It says until 1878, eagles depicted in U.S. coins used to have odd numbered tail feathers. Mint director Linderman pointed out this imperfection. It was decided to change the number of tail feathers.
That's what I read.
So there
that was the answer I read too, as well.
Okay. Well, they're very good.
They both can be.
It may take us time, but we get to the right answer eventually.
Okay, now I lost my train of thought. Okay, so what are the key dates in the series that you would suggest? And I also see a question up here too. Do you have an 1895? If so, somebody would like to bin it, please.
I do not have an 1895. I did sell one about 18 months ago, proof 64 CAC for 85,000. So no, I do not have an 1895.
Wow, that is wow.
Yeah, it really is a cool coin.
Yeah.
So where were we? Oh, the key dates. Well, it depends on how do you define a key date? A key date in good is different than a key date in MS67 deep mirror proof like. So, the 93S, of course, is the king of the circulated dollars, but you can then look at many different dates, and depending on the condition, there are condition rarities. So all of the Carson cities are tougher. 89 Carson City is the toughest of the Carson cities in high grade, followed by the 93, the 92, the 79. So,
So something that I hear around in the community quite a bit, and I don't necessarily think it's true, but I'll ask you. Just because it's a Carson city, does that necessarily mean it's going to be worth a lot of money? Necessarily.
not a lot of money, but more money. Okay. So any Carson city, even the most common one in low grade, generally they bring $100 and up,
Mhm.
whereas other mints can be purchased for $35 and up.
But $100, a little over $100 is nothing like 85,000.
Well, no, but again, you're talking about a special issue there. The 1895 proof, 880 coins made. Not all of them survived. So again, Morgan dollars are a very difficult series to cubbyhole because there are so many condition rarity coins as well as just straight scarce pieces. CoinOp says the 1878 VAM 9 Morgan silver dollar was the very first set of dies used to strike a Morgan, which makes that particular VAM a highly collected coin. So people like to say, I have one of the first Morgan dollars. So you might want to look one of those up if you want to put one into your collection.
So do you find in your shop that to be true, that Morgans are the most popular series? Are you still seeing that in coin shows?
In the shop and at shows, I find Morgan dollars, yes, are the easiest coin to sell, to be honest with you. It's big, it's pretty, and it's silver. So, and affordable in most cases.
So what else would you like to tell us about Morgans?
Whatever anybody wants to ask a question about.
Is the 78 the one with 8/7?
8/7 tail feathers, yes. So there's 78 Philadelphia issue. You can find it with 8 tail feathers, 7 tail feathers, and 7/8 actually.
So the 79 has the reverse of the 78.
It does, but it would be the San Francisco reverse.
Just the San Francisco.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, Frank. VAMs can get dizzying. There are a lot of them.
Very cumbersome.
A lot of Morgan dollars, and the differences between VAMs are very small. So you need a good magnifying glass or even a microscope to be an effective VAM collector.
And I have a small book too that lists them all, because there's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
You need more than a small book to figure out VAMs. It's a fairly large book.
Well, it is.
Robert, throw up VAM World information on the for everybody, so that if you are interested in VAMs, there's an online reference, and you can go to VAM World and look up your Morgan dollar there. So, Nick, if you were going to start collecting Morgan dollars, how would you start collecting them? What would be your criteria?
Well, the first one I wanted, and I did get, and I just sold recently, was the 1878 CC.
Okay.
And my only thought process for that is because it was 100 years before I was born. Morgans haven't really interested me all that much.
Okay. Well, but there are different ways to collect Morgans, right? Just like there were different ways to collect bust half dollars. So
I would like the CCs, to be honest with you. If I was going to do it, I'd start with the CCs.
Okay.
That's just
some people collect just the CCs. You can also put together a mint mark collection of Morgan dollars. So you could collect the Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, New Orleans, and Carson City.
In the 1921 Denver.
Well, I said Denver.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's okay. So it's a nice way of getting kind of an overview of the mints. And you'll also start noticing, if you collect Morgans, that you can almost tell which mint made the coin by looking at the obverse of the coin based on the strike and the luster. So different mints were known for, like San Francisco. They're known for their luster. The San Francisco coins are the most lustrous across the board. These are generalizations, not all, but S mints are very lustrous and well struck. Philadelphia mints are more satiny and well struck. New Orleans mints are
less.
bleh,
Yeah. They're not struck as well.
No, they're not. They're not as nice. Carson cities have a whole kind of a different satin look to them. More of a frosty luster for the most part. Now, that all changes because you can get deep mirror proof likes, and that will throw you off at times. But just for the general circulation, you can almost pick it out as to the mint based on the luster. What about the 1888 Hot Lips? Robert, if I'm not mistaken, that's a double die, isn't it? Come on in, and Robert, and explain the 1888 Hot Lips to.
And then with that being said, there's another 1888 also has the
Scarface.
Date 8/7. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct. As far as I'm aware, there's no 8/7 for the 1888. There is a very strong double die, and it is affectionately known as the Hot Lips. I have only cherry picked one in my entire life, and it was at Brad's store. However, well, thank you, sir. I mean, we sold it and you made money, so shut up. However, the 1888 New Orleans is where the Hot Lips was produced, but that had to come from, as Brad knows, had to have come from being made in Philadelphia originally, and it was sent to New Orleans. But it had to be just that one die because we only find one of them. However, there is a Scarface, as Brad also says, and it's from the 1888 New Orleans. And if memory serves me correctly, because it's one of the ones I'm looking for, is an 1888 O die clash VER on the reverse. That's one of them, I believe that's one, Brad. If there's somebody out there that knows better than me, feel free to fill me in.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think there is, and it seems to be a tough one to get. So if somebody's got a 1888 New Orleans BER die clash, let me know. I'm interested.
Okay, so in the chat we have 1881S. Is that regarded as the best strike by
one of the best struck coins? Maybe, like he says, maybe the best one overall. 80S, 79S, and 82S will rival it. But as far as being the most common, fully struck Morgan dollar 81S, yes. If you want to buy one wonderful Morgan dollar from your collection, 81S is one of the dates to look at for getting a really great coin at the lowest price.
Yes, I agree with you, Frank. CC has an almost romantic mystique to it because many people know for a fact that came from the well-known, as Brad talked about earlier, the Comstock load. Guys, if you don't, let's bring everybody in, I think. And
Stephen Bassett just asked over S what year. That would be 1882 is the famous O over S mint mark. And there are more than one set of dies that were over, or more than one reverse die that was struck over. So you want to look for the one with the really heavy S stroke in the middle of the O.
So have you been to the Carson City Mint?
Yes,
I have not.
I have.
And so that press, as I believe, is named just Press 1. And it was actually used in the 70s as well to mint. I think it was in the Denver Mint that they brought that press up to the Denver Mint and used it.
Oh,
because they said it was a coin shortage back then. I didn't know because I wasn't born, but they did say it was a coin shortage. And I just thought that was interesting because, we're here coin shortage during, the past couple of years. So they said it back then as well.
So, Nick, why was there a coin shortage in the mid-1960s?
I don't know. I really don't. But
what
I can
happened?
tell you.
What happened between 1964 and 1965?
War.
No, the Vietnam War was earlier than that.
Oh, I'm not sure. I wasn't born.
They minted how many? What? No,
The
go ahead.
price. Okay, they took silver out of the coins.
Well, that's
Oh, so everybody
Adam
started
Gordon
hoarding.
got it.
They started
all
hoarding the
coins.
silver coins, so there was a shortage of the new copper-clad coins, and they had
that
to
makes sense.
ramp up the production to try to get more out.
I see.
Yes,
Well, that's
John.
interesting.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much, John Jacob.
Wouldn't it have been cool if they took that press and brought it back to Denver again and then minted the Morgans in 2021? We know
Well,
that they can move
why
it
wouldn't they just leave it in Carson City and mint the Carson City?
because it's not
dollar?
it's no longer a mint anymore. So wouldn't it have to be passed by Congress to make it a working mint?
Congress doesn't need to know what's going on.
No, but I mean, they have to put it into law, Brad. I mean, you can't just say okay, because I mean, then you would start.
Hold it. You think the government follows the law all the time?
Well, no, but I mean, then you and everybody else can say, okay, I'm going to have a working mint in my home.
How do you know I don't?
By that logic.
How do you know I don't?
Well, mint me some then, please.
Let's see here. Memory serves me correctly. There was actually just a lawsuit settled a few years ago. And the mint took and went after somebody that was producing silver rounds, monetizing them, and using them as currency or
as money.
So
right.
that would be considered counterfeit.
However,
just if you're going to make your own silver rounds, don't put a dollar value on them.
Right.
And there's certain things that the United States Mint has to put on a coin before it becomes legal tender. Okay. And if you don't put those on your silver, if you want to call them coins, go ahead. But it is construed as bullion. And so there's a lot of people that do mint their own bullion.
Because the Carson City Mint, the press still is in use. You can get $50 at their gift shop, but it's not.
Frank says that Frank came in and said he thinks that I'm secretly making nickels in my home like Henning.
That's good.
Almost.
I mean, who wants to make nickels? I mean,
right. I'm making 20s.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
I make dollars. I'm not going to make nickels.
Who makes dollars anymore? I thought they were all 20s at least, minimum.
It's an interesting series.
Omega. Nick, can you say Omega? Omega.
Why do I want to do that for?
I don't know. Something about counterfeit 10s and 20s in the past. Ooh, there's something for you to Google later.
Yeah, I suppose.
And you didn't even get my humorous part of the coin show report, did you? Green Acres, Florida, saying hello to the Douglases.
More
show,
isn't it?
Right. You weren't alive when Green Acres was on TV.
But I remember watching the reruns.
The reruns, okay. The Douglases.
I didn't know that's what their names, but I remember Green Acres was like a farm.
Yeah, okay. And some Arnold bacon? No, that went right past you.
I was too young. I mean, seriously.
You were too young. That's fine. So what do you remember? Scooby-Doo?
I never watched cartoons either because I was reading.
I learned most of the stuff when I was a kid from cartoons. But anyway.
That explains a lot, Brad. That explains a lot.
Yeah, Frank, a lot of us don't get Brad humor. Okay, sorry, Frank.
I do every once in a while, but then, I just ask.
It's like, listening to your father, they're old dad jokes.
Bad dad jokes.
Bad dad jokes.
This is an interesting series, and I really didn't have that much interest in it. I knew a little bit, but I am going to go back and start reading the books on it because there's a lot to learn about those.
Oh,
And
there
even
is,
Brad-
and they're such a classic U.S. issue.
Yeah, but even you have a lot to learn, obviously.
Yes.
I'm just teasing you.
Only
I'm-
Robert says I'm a know-it-all, but he means it in a different way than that I know everything.
You do know a lot. You really do.
And if not, I lie convincingly. Right, Brandon? Yeah, there you go.
You just not that.
That's
So
that's
the
the
way to-
that's the
the
new
way to-
Brandon bobblehead. It'll be for sale next week on the.
So
Low,
just
low
like
price
Rose,
of
like,
99
Brown
cents.
Wave, it's like nod and wave with
No, Brandon. It's gotta be 1995.
There we go. 1995. I like it.
That's what we need. We need to get a bobblehead of each one of us and sell 1995.
Oh, OC Stacker tells me that you're a Star Wars girl.
never watched
No?
never watched them.
No. Oh, Robert, get rid of her. Out.
I was never really into that kind of stuff. I was too young.
Well, even if you're not into sci-fi, Star Wars is still like classic movie Americana.
I know, like everybody keeps telling me I need to watch it, and
There's
then
certain things in life you have to experience. The Godfather,
that's
Star
excellent. I
Wars.
watch those all the time.
Star
Hey.
Wars,
Hey, Joe
Dirty
Jordan
Harry.
is our Wookiee.
a Wookiee. That's right. We have Wookiee Joe over in the corner.
Aren't those like the little animals, like the little like
No,
Teddy bear
no,
thing?
that's the big. The Wookiee was the big one. The little ones were Ewoks.
Oh, okay. I never watched DT. Never watched anything like that.
Yeah, and then the Trouble with Tribbles. Tribbles was it, or is that right, Dave?
Troubles
Yeah,
was
Is
on
that
Star
right?
Trek.
Tribbles. Tribbles on Star Trek.
Yep, Star Trek.
Oh, I never watched that. Well, my dad used to watch it, so I used to see it every once in a while.
Yeah, there you go. The Trouble with
In
Tribbles.
this-
Go
in
back
this
and look it up.
spaceship.
Or the greatest TV show ever.
Batman.
Now think about it for a while.
Hey, don't forget, everybody. We've
Greatest
got to take and hold on a second, guys. Don't forget, we have a drawing. We're going to be doing 2 of them this week. You got to go to last Thursday's podcast and in the comments section,
My mind just went blank. I'm
type
so-
in CAPPED, CAPPED, and you'll be entered to win. Alden Davis is not here today, but you'll be entered to win. He has a cap bust $50. And also, oh, thank you, dear. Brad has taken and given us, well, there you go. It's the best or bust half fever. 40, look at that, $49.95. It's a CD. There you go. That'll be the second thing that you can win. So we're gonna have 2 drawings, and that'll be at 4:00. So go to last week's podcast, type in CAP. Gosh, I forgot. I don't even think we got anything for this week. Bring everybody up. Yeah, I don't think we have anything for this week for giveaway yet. I forgot all about it. So we'll have to get a name and everything for this week. If somebody's got a suggestion, go for it.
I think Robert ought to give away an UNC 93S dollar.
Well, something else we didn't talk about either was the Rainbow Morgans.
Oh, so
I mean, the toned Morgans. I mean, they do. tone
yeah,
very
the
pretty.
Rainbow Morgans. Those are the ones that you get with your every purchase of a unicorn, right?
I suppose after they've had Skittles.
After they've had Skittles, you're right. Yeah, the real problem with rainbow toned Morgans is I'm not 100% sure they're all real toning.
Oh, okay.
You know, so
Yeah.
there are some people out there that are that practice better coins through chemistry that are getting really good at putting
Really
color
good
on.
at it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I have seen
would be-
some that come through that I thought was real pretty, because I don't like toning, but on some of the Morgans, I've seen some really pretty toning.
some of them are really great. Yes,
Mhm. And those will get a premium as well, right?
they will. That's right. Bosom Things Married with Children is the best TV show ever. Ooh.
I wasn't allowed to watch that.
You weren't allowed to do anything. You were chained in the basement.
No, I
Ronald
wasn't.
Harris came up. He said Nick's parents kept her locked in her room.
We
I
were
think
just
you're
at
right.
church, probably. For real.
Hogan's Heroes, Steven says. Well,
Okay,
that's
give
okay.
us a year, Brad, when the show, give us a little bit of a narrow it down.
The Flintstones. No, the best TV show ever produced was obviously
good.
Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone.
Oh my gosh, I would have never thought that.
Oh my goodness! If you'd have watched that, I'll tell you what. From 2016 to now, you'd say I'm in the Twilight Zone. What do you think about that, Joe?
Definitely.
Yeah, there. See, Joe agrees.
Yep.
So how can you tell if it's natural or if it's artificial toning? Is there any way you can really tell?
Define natural first off.
Well,
I mean,
Okay.
a natural where it's toned by itself, or you're not putting in any special paper or you put chemicals on
okay,
it?
so natural toning happens over decades.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. I'm confused.
As most people are. So
This
you're-
reminds me of like that game on the Atari ping pong.
just Pong.
Pong. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
How do you know about Atari?
Because
No,
that
you're
was
not
my
old
first
enough to
gaming
know about
system.
it.
No, yes, it was my
You
first
know it.
gaming system. Santa Claus brought it to me.
Okay. So here's a Morgan that Robert has,
It's beautiful. That's pretty.
but I wouldn't exactly call that rainbow.
Well, I would.
Oh.
I see different colors.
Paul Hampton says Alfred Hitchcock. I got to say, you're right up there, bud. I agree. That's one of the greatest also.
I consider that. I mean, I see.
I'm still a Twilight Zone fan. That's okay.
Let's get back to the Morgans, Brad.
Oh, yes. Okay. Focus. Squirrel. I'm trying to find a nice way to say that I don't think anybody can consistently tell the difference between homemade toning and natural toning anymore. I think that there are a number of coins residing in third-party plastic that people accept as real toning.
Mhm.
There's just some years ago, there were just too many coins come into the marketplace at one time
Mhm.
to justify them all being
Oh, that makes sense. The market was flooded with them.
so.
Provided that you're not mentioning names, let's just get real. There was a dealer out there that was artificially toning coins, sending it to third-party grading companies, and he was actually they were convincing them to actually grade them, and they all got graded. I do remember also when a Mr. Owner of PCGS had this beautifully, and I do mean beautifully, toned set getting ready to come up for sale in the open market. It was a big auction house. You send in a toned, I don't care if your great grandmother owned it and it was original all the way from the time she had it until the day you sent it to the third party grading company. If it was a beautiful tone, it probably still wouldn't get it. So that just happened. So I do agree with Brad. However, toning, guys, I know of ways to artificially tone coins. I don't do them because I ain't got time. It takes years upon years upon years. I have seen coins that I guarantee you in the 1960s, they used to send out, and if I had it with me, I would show it to you, in a little envelope with cardboard. They would send you a Morgan dollar, give you a description. It was silver, and they toned absolutely gorgeously. Brad's partner took and sent one in to get it graded. It came back artificial, or I don't know if it was artificial or questionable toning. I hadn't seen it.
Questionable. They always say questionable.
Okay, but I
So
have
that they can't be put on the line for it.
Okay, I do want to finish the story though. I took and I seen it at their Coleraine store, and I took and I told Mike at the time when I seen the coin, I said that coin is original and I know exactly where it came from. And he took and Mike has always questioned me to see if I know what I'm talking about. And he says, okay, where? And I took and I explained to him exactly what I just told you guys, that it came in the envelope in the 60s, yada, yada, yada. He said, yes, you're right. And voila, I gained a little bit of respect from Mike that day.
Let's see. There was a couple of
Expensive as hell.
No.
people over here that had yes. Adam Jam says some of the coins I submitted out of an hour were rejected by third-party services. Seen the same pattern get straight grade. Yes, and I've personally sent coins in more than once, and they weren't graded, and then they were graded. So,
And which grading
It's-
company? Because
it's
if I
all
were-
an opinion. It's just an opinion. So
which
you
grading
use that
company?
as your a education point. Robert, what is the actually the official name of the VAM book?
Oh boy.
You know,
You gave us a website, Brad.
I'm sorry.
You gave us a website to go to.
Yeah,
I
there's
did.
a website, VAM World, but there's also a book by Van Allen Malice, but it's a comprehensive guide of Morgan and Peace Dollar die varieties or something along that line. But if you Google VAM book, you'll come up with it. But of course, VAM World will work online.
We got someone looking for it, so bear with us.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know which book you're talking about. And here's another thing: the VAM book has been updated. What, Brad? They're on like the 5th one.
Yes, that sounds very.
I mean, yeah, I'm guessing too, but because they have upgraded it a considerable amount. Everybody. By the way, hello to all the newbies out there.
Right, but using VAM World will get you the latest information that can be updated in real time. So,
right. Well, yeah, and I know several people that upgrade on the VAM World. Brian Rains being one of them. I believe Larry Briggs is another. Because I've actually been to the back rooms of the VAM World website, which is pretty cool.
That's very cool.
But
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to. Yeah, I'm not allowed to discuss anything about it.
he's
Looking
told
up
you that,
the
Nick. Now that has to kill you.
Well,
VAM
just be
World.
covert and get some pictures for us.
Show us those photographs again. Yeah, there you go. Pull it up.
It's amazing to me. I tell somebody specifically not to call me between 3 and 5, and who calls me.
Of course, you should. That's just how the world works.
Yes.
There you have it. There. Where'd you put it? There you go.
So, Robert,
Yes.
what's the best VAM you've ever cherried?
Best being, how do you want to define the best? I mean, because to me, one of the most exciting,
Charlie, I'm busy.
the most exciting I felt was the 88 Hot Lips. However, the most valuable one was the 1878. I cannot remember the van number, but it was a van that it's 1878, I believe it was. And in the condition I owned it in, normally that coin would only be worth. Normally that coin would only be worth maybe $45, $50. However, being it was the VAM, and again, I apologize, I don't remember the number, but it was one of the scarcer VAMs, and it was the 1878 that has the hot lips almost. And I want to say that coin was worth a couple, $2,000-$3,000. So as far as that goes, that VAM was probably, I mean, that made me the most money, but I think the most exciting was the hot lips.
Okay, so Robert, what is the best date of Morgan dollars for cherry picking VAMs?
78, baby.
78, specifically 8 tail feathers, right?
Yeah, I've got yes, they got an entire book on that, and I believe that book's probably an inch thick. You can actually buy that book, or you used to be able to. It's out of print now, but I have seen it. In fact, I've seen it. I want to say it was in, believe it or not, Arizona.
Stephen Bassett said, remind me that it's Van Allen and Malice. Leroy Van Allen, and what was Malice's first name, Robert?
Oh God, I don't remember
Uh-oh.
it. Yeah,
George.
And I don't have a book right
George?
here to look at real quick. You
It's
just had the
George
picture up. You just had the picture up.
oh, what'd you say, Joe?
George Malice.
There you go. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
George
you.
Malice. I thought I heard you in there saying something, Joe. Oh, there's our choo-choo train for the day.
Well, here's what I tell them. Let's say Lincoln number.
So earlier, I think Nick or maybe somebody asked about an overdate. Did you ask about an 88/7 overdate, Nick? Okay, so there's not
No.
an 88/7, but there's an 87/6 that
Oh, yeah, it was in the
both
chat.
both Philadelphia and New Orleans issues with that overdate. So that's an interesting one to look for. One of the more common ones is 1880/79 Carson City. That's very noticeable. They're not particularly rare, and you can pick them up for little or no premium. 82 Carson City Morgans.
There is. There's a lot. They've got them. I know several of the VAMs from 82 Carson City that does have die clashes. Some of them look like they're double lipped. So yeah, I've got a story on that, but I'm not going to discuss it now because it's long and we'll have to.
So what you should do is go on to VAM World and attribute your coin, and a lot of times they'll tell you right there if they're known clashed or not. So that's something you can spend a little time with and double check on your own.
In fact, David, if you would like, there, I just put the link up to the Morgan Dollar Van World. You can look it up yourself. It's real easy. Just go. It's a real easy site to use. Go under the 82cc, and I'm gonna say it might be VAM. Oh, there's two different VAMs with the die clashes. I think one's a VAM. There's so many VAMs, guys. It's hard to memorize them all.
Right, but just realize that most dies at some point in their life did clash, and when we're talking about collectible clash dies, it's usually things that are very noticeable, so that they leave clear letters impressed on the other side of the coin. So you may get stray lines here and there from clashing, but you want to really look for something that has a letter showing up in an odd place. So 1812 bust half dollars Overton 107 is a severely clashed die, and I did a die state study on those in the 1980s,
In the 50s.
and identified 12 or 13 different die states of coins that were clashed, lapped, reclashed, double clash, triple clash. So some of them can be quite fun, and it's educational to try to build a die state study of a particular clash coin, because it has you really look at the coin carefully, and you have to mentally picture how each of those clashes came about. So the 1812-107 not only clashed in normal alignment, but also in off alignment. Excuse me a second. I got to grab that. Oh, somebody's got it. Never mind. So you get letters of liberty that show up in the middle of the shield of the eagle, and you get letters of liberty that show up under the eagle's left wing. And so if you get to see one, it's really quite cool. Adam Jam. Well, we don't know. There's probably still some out there to be discovered. Robert, do you have any idea when they discovered the last VAM? It was within the last couple years, wasn't it?
Yes. In fact, there was one that might be added to the next Cherry Pickers edition that was just discovered. I would suggest everybody get the next edition of the Cherry Pickers Guide to double check me, but There's some interesting, there. I don't think, man. Yeah, there's still vans out there. I would say.
I do. I got your number on the phone. Thanks, bud. Bye.
Yeah, I like all the questions we're getting this week coming in. So more people collect Morgan dollars than bust halves.
Yes.
Who'd have thunk it?
Oh, and one other thing about die clashes, we had that discussion. Yes, there are a lot of dice clashes, as Brad said. However, one thing I learned a long time ago from a variety and error collector, his name was John. He's since passed, but he used to go to Green Hills, and I brought him a 2000 Sacagawea that had the die clash to where the feathers were across the face of Sacagawea, and there was letters, and there was a bunch of it was a nice die clash.
Wasn't that considered the in the Cheerios box?
No.
This
is a different one. Okay. But this was a nice die clash, and he told me, he says, "I'll give you $8 for every one you bring me." He said, "It won't last long."
It was Philadelphia.
Okay, right. And I took them to him. I kept some. I still have some. And he's right. They don't last long. Every strike is going to make that die clash go away. It's going to smooth it out. And I mean, quite honestly, I would think Joe Durbin would be able to tell us a bunch about that because he deals with stretching and moving metals with coins, and he would probably know more about it than I do.
You explained it pretty good. It does disappear. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if you could expand upon it because I took a total just a little bit of what I know.
Not really. I can't.
Do you see a lot of Morgans that come through that are possibly cleaned?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. People always think they can make something better by making it shiny. So
that's a sure tell way to tell is if they're over shiny.
No,
you
can get an over shiny coin that is deep mirror proof like, and
but to be so old, wouldn't they be just a little bit toned though? I mean,
yeah, no. So when you're looking for cleaning on Morgan dollars, normally, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, it shows up as hairline scratches in the fields of the coin from being wiped.
Okay.
Other times, if you use a jeweler's cloth that has jeweler's rouge in it, it will come off as being almost chrome-like in appearance. Over dipping them will maybe stain the coin or dull the luster to a point that it's not attractive anymore. So it depends on how you clean a coin as to what it will look like.
Right. So, but is dipping it considered cleaning?
Technically, yes.
Yep.
But it's acceptable cleaning.
So if done by
you do it right, if you do it wrong, then it's not acceptable.
I just want to do it.
If you have a darkly toned coin that has luster and you dip it, the luster might come away with the color.
With okay.
And leave it very dull or stained. So experience is the only thing that'll tell you, and you still ruin one every now and then. But over the years, I've dipped thousands of coins. So in Morgan dollars, there's a lot of people that only want to buy them if they're bright white coins. Generally speaking, I tell people if the contaminant on the surface of the coin is going to do more harm than the dipping, then go ahead and dip it. Or if the toning is kind of ugly and it's not too deeply ingrained, you can dip it to remove it.
Is that because you hear some people will say that dipping is cleaning. So would you tell
dipping is cleaning?
But
if
you said acceptable cleaning. So would you tell a customer that you dip the coin?
If asked, yes. If I know I've done it, but a lot of times, if I've taken two 1964 half dollars out of an original roll and dipped one and left one natural, and you put them side by side, you can't tell the difference.
Okay.
So, but if you dip it incorrectly, leave it in too long, dip a coin that the toning has become synonymous with the luster, it's going to mar the luster of the coin. So you just have to be very careful. I tell people generally don't clean a coin, period, and you're better off. Shadrock says PCGS and NGC clean coins. Yes, they do. If you pay them, they will conserve your coin, which is a nice word for cleaning. But if it improves the coin without being deceptive,
that's a good way to put it. That's that.
Okay.
That makes sense,
So
yes.
let's take a step backwards. Okay.
That's really a good way to.
You own a 250-year-old oil painting, and it's been hanging in somebody's house, and some people over time were smokers. So what's wrong with your oil painting?
It has a film over it because
It has a film over it, and it hides some of the
luster of
colors.
the
It dulls
colors.
the colors.
Mhm.
It hides some of the very intricate
Details.
brush strokes. So you can take that to a professional conservator, and they will clean the painting, and it will look wonderful, and it's perfectly acceptable in the art world.
And also, if it's been left out in the sun and restoration, and with
Well, once it's faded, you can't restore the color.
you can't. You're not
No.
not even being restored. Restoration.
Well, you can paint over it, but that's gone beyond.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the art,
hold on, time out, guys. We are past the giveaway. I mean, we've been having so much fun. I apologize for having to interrupt, but we got to give away some stuff, guys. Okay. Alden Davis wants to give away a bust half. Now, I do not have that here. However, if you took and was over in the last chat for last week's podcast and you put in cap, you're entered into it. Also, we're going to give this here CD-ROM for the Bust Half Fever away too today. So with that being said, let's find out who the first winner is. This is a random picker. I don't know who they're going to be. So this we'll have to give to Alden Davis. So you might want to write this one down for
Coins for flip.
who?
Coins for flip. Coins for flip.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but hold on a second.
I know it's Kevin.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, of course, she knows who that is. Oh, Coins for Flip. Okay, yeah. Well, congratulations, Coins for Flip. You win that now. I assume they're going to be taken out for the next drawing because I don't want the same. Yeah.
That
Okay.
was the coins from Alden. Right?
Yeah, that's the 50s. That's Coins for Flip. That is for the bust half dollar from Alden Davis. We will get back to you. I'll get it with Alden, and then we will take and do me a favor, Coins for Flip. You got my email information, errorsto@aol.com. Contact me, and I'll make certain you get that. Okay, the next drawing, everybody, is going to be for the CD-ROM. So, okay, here's the next winner.
Farm Dog 1476.
Farm dog.
Farm Dog. Congratulations, Farm Dog. You are the winner of the CD. Bust Half Fever. I'll tell you what, I'm a little envious of you. I never opened it, Brad. I was going to open it and check it out, but
Congrats, Farm Dog. And
let's
Coin for
unmute
Flip.
everybody. Okay, you're unmuted now. Sorry about that, Brad.
Okay, I said I'll lend you one if you want to check it out, Robert. Just ask me
Okay.
tomorrow when you see me.
Okay.
So, somebody
All right,
mentioned
Farm Dog
before-
and Coin Flip both in here.
Okay. So Stephen Bassett said if the grading company cleans them, it's not cleaning. If you do, it's tragic. Well,
If you
that
don't know what
could be
you're
true
doing,
because the grading companies have experienced conservators and most individuals are amateurs. And you know the difference between an amateur and a professional. A professional is screwed up on somebody else's coins. An amateur screws up on their own. So you just have to be very careful in what you're doing and how you're doing it. So if you don't know any better, don't do it or practice on things that are worthless.
Now, I know Nick probably won't remember this, but Joe Durbin and Brad will. Back in the day, and I'm going to go back into the 80s, the Morgan dollars, let's see, I mean, because I've got some older Morgans here. Let's see here. Well, I was hoping I had. Well, this is sort of kind of like one. A lot of people would dip them so much they lost their luster and they became a battleship grade. Now, this is a call. I believe I may have thought it from Brad here a while ago. But yeah, that was one of the problems. That's why a lot of dealers will tell you, don't touch your coins. Don't try to clean them. Don't even dipping them can take and mess them up if you're not experienced at it. Brad is experienced at it, and as he said, he's messed up a few himself. I'm experienced at it. I try to avoid touching them, period, but I have, and yes, I have messed them up too. That's why I try to avoid doing any of that. Now, there's one thing I can tell you guys. There are still original rolls of Morgan dollars out there. A lot of people will say no. That's like they say, oh, all the pennies have been searched. My ass. I don't care what anyone says. I would take and put $1,000 against anybody because I guarantee you somewhere there's an old lady, an old man who has a roll in their attic that no one knows about. Go ahead, Brad. Prove me wrong.
No, I just said you're the old man.
Well, okay, maybe.
So
yeah, that's Joe Durbin. That's Joe.
Some years ago, I took like a BU roll of 1964 quarters, and I took one out, and then I took others out and cleaned them with different methods of good and bad cleaning, and made a display and showed people what the difference looks like. So if you really want to start getting an idea of what a different type of cleaning will do to a coin, buy a BU roll of 64 halves or 64 quarters where you aren't going to lose any money. They're still going to be worth the silver value, and you can start experimenting and seeing what goes wrong. Use a pencil eraser and see how many scratches you put on a coin. Use a jeweler's cloth and see the color that you get from the rouge in the cloth.
Why don't you bring show and tell, Brad, and show us on another program?
It wouldn't show well here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you have to, in some cases, you have to have a magnifying glass and a light. Mm-hmm. And that's really what you need to tell if a coin's been cleaned or not in a lot of cases, is a good light and a good magnifying glass. So,
Brad, what's a good light? What's recommended by the ANA?
Light you can't get anymore. 100-watt bulb, incandescent. Okay, so now some people use halogen. Some people use halogen, which is a very hot, bright light, and halogen will help you discover hairlines much easier. So there's a lot of different lights that people are using. So you just have to learn how to look at coins in order to uncover the little not so nice surprises that are hiding there for you sometimes.
I wasn't able to check today. What was the silver spot price?
Oh, just a second.
I need to put that app on my phone. I usually just go to Kitco, but
yeah, well, it's silver is at 27.35 bid, and gold is at 23.30, right now. So gold's up $16 and change, and silver's up a quarter today. So yeah, the recovery is on.
30, but
coins for flip. I'm driving and listening. Well, don't run off the road. Okay. We're glad you're listening, but be safe. Alexander Smith says, I was taught to hold coins around the rim and not the face. Of course, you don't want to get the oils from your hands on the fields or face of your coin. Let's see. Did we have? Some people try not to handle coins bare at all. Some people wear gloves, even to hold them by the rim. So that is the extreme of careful.
I'm like,
Let's see.
okay, I want to take them real quick, guys. Anybody got any suggestions for a topic next week? Wow, that got quiet.
Well, you realize next week I'm going to be in Chicago at the Central States Numismatic Convention, so I
Good,
will
we can
not.
come on location.
Whoa.
There you
If
go,
Robert
Brad.
comes up, see, the trouble is I go to these conventions to do business, and I could very well be having to do business there. So I'm going to step out next week and not be here. I know that'll make a number of our listeners happy. They won't have to listen to me opine on things that.
But they need for you to take a camera around and show us what's going on and what your.
Yeah, if I didn't pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a table to do business, then
You could wear a GoPro camera on your head.
oh yeah, that would be really cute. I did wear one of the Australian. What, Robert?
I say I've got a GoPro and I also got all the connectors.
Yeah,
You can have it on your head, or you can have it on your chest. I mean,
time out. The only problem here is that generally photography like that is forbidden on the floor of a convention.
But you're Brad.
I'm sorry?
You're Brad. You could do what you want to do.
I'm glad you think so, Nick.
That's what I would do.
But yes, for security reasons, that will get you closed down really quickly. Now, if you have it at your table and it's confined, they live with that, but they don't want you walking around because that would be a way of targeting somebody and possibly, stopping them on the road and robbing them. So that is, that's not going to happen. Florida is talking in the background.
Yep.
No,
She was just reading about sticks for fire and all that. That's what I was showing. Some of the different topics people were suggesting. Frank Mons was suggesting Joe do some Canadian sticks for fire, when you shouldn't get coins graded.
There's a possibility like that maybe Andy Sheckman can come next Thursday. So I'll get with you, Robert, an email and give you his assistant's phone number.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
That might be a good one because it'll give Brad some time to step away because he likes to talk too. So it'll give Andy some time.
Okay. Well,
I'm not 100% sure. It's just on his scheduling. So
yeah, well that's good. Do me a favor, guys. Take the poll on the different. We've got 4 different items that you can take and discuss. We have buffalo nickels, wheat pennies, or seed liberty dollar. I mean, those are 3 topics we're just taking and trying to find out what you may want to talk about for next week. Okay.
Wheat pennies would be awesome.
Man, do you realize how big of a topic that is?
Alexander Smith just asked Joe if he actually likes Canadians. Joe, you're muted.
The coins are the people, Alex.
Oh, I know. Hey,
love them, Alex. I love them. All of them.
Me.
Yeah.
Meh. I'm just kidding because I'm so close to Canada and families from up,
right,
French Canadian. So I can say that.
Okay, Shadrach asks, if shit hits the fan, will all the high premium silver really matter?
I mean, what's going to really matter when shit hits the fan? Other than
lead.
Food.
I'm going to say lead.
Food, water.
Well, Nick, if you have a bunch of food and water and no lead, I'm going to have your food and water pretty soon.
Well, we got plenty of lead, and I got a 38 too that I personally have myself.
38. So what
And
are
I
you
know
gonna
how to use it, Brad. Come
when
over.
are you
and try
going to
to
step
steal.
up? When are you going to step up from minor caliber to major caliber?
Well, my husband has all the big, so
Yeah,
we do collect,
we do.
Well, what
How
do
does
you
it
have, Brad? I'm sure you don't want to mention it
Dave,
all on
Dave
camera.
had the right answer. Dave, my partner here, first thing he said was everything.
Hi, Dave.
Hello.
Your partner.
Yes, I have a cross
Dave's
section.
the nice one out of the bunch, guys.
I
Just
can
letting you know.
he sounds really nice. He does.
He
Yeah,
is. I mean,
he's the jolly guy.
And you're the old grumpy guy.
You're right.
yeah, Brad's the old grumpy guy in all the shops. Every time I go around his place, I'm always.
You make sure Dave's working and not Brad.
I was like, hey, Joe Durbin can confess to that. He's sat there beside us plenty of times. He knows how Brad is.
So does everybody run when they open the door and they see Brad's there and they're like, oh, I'm going to the other location?
Yes,
Really? Oh, Brad.
for the most part. It's how it's kind of like taking a vacation every day at work.
What, you don't?
Yes, I do. That's how I do it. I slough people off on Dave.
Poor Dave. Jeez. I hope you pay, or he has at least 50% of the business.
No, he owns the corner where the garbage can sits.
Poor Dave. I feel bad for the guy.
You should. Everybody feels bad for Dave.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys. I honestly have a good time.
I
We
mean,
all do.
I probably would have a good time.
Hey,
too, just
Robert,
looking for the
Robert,
coins.
if I send you something to post, should I email it or should I text it to you? A picture.
Email. If you want me to show it,
We can talk about BB to what? BB.
Bibby's going to California. I don't know, OC Stagger. That's up to Joe Durbin if he wants to talk about that stuff.
Oh, that's funny, OC.
I was just going to say, do you really see Joe Durbin on the beach in California?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Well, probably more Washington State.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
somebody would go, Bigfoot.
You're right.
you'd blend in.
Oh, that's funny.
Nah, I think Joe, let's be fair. I think let's see here. Oregon, that would be perfect for you. Right in the middle there.
I can see
You're not
Diane on the
Bigfoot,
beach in
You're
California.
not the beach, you're not the surfer, you're not Bigfoot. I mean, right in the middle there, that's a Joe Durbin place.
He's
Yeah.
a surfer surfing Bigfoot.
Surfing Bigfoot. There you go.
I'm going to go to the Long Beach Coin Show in July. It's June, right? Well, I can't remember which month.
OC Stacker, you need to come to Florida to the fun show. Forget the Long Beach is dying out, I was
No,
told.
fun is probably my favorite show of the year.
Is it? That's
Oh my
where a lot of
God.
them go.
Yes.
But have you heard the same thing I had, Brad, that the Long Beach is dying out? That's what I've heard.
It's not doing it like Baltimore. It has its own social problems.
Would you say it's because of who hosts and puts on the show or who owns the show?
No, it's more of who's hanging around the show stealing things.
Oh, and so can you elaborate on that, or is that something?
Well, there's
Does
just been a lot of reports of things that have gone missing over the last, and just in general, the population of dealers at those two shows are diminishing a bit.
Oh, so when you are a vendor at one of those shows, do you leave your stuff up, or do you?
I
take it
am
down
not a
to them?
vendor at either of those shows.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, in general, we'll say you're at the fun show. Do they?
Okay,
leave their-
so at night you put your coins in lock cases, and then you
Okay.
stack your lock cases in a body bag, You know what a body bag is, right? You use those, right, Nick? You know, the zipper body bags, and then lock them. So
Oh, kind of like a bank bag almost. But
Yes.
yeah, only it's
Sure.
the size of your table, so you
Okay.
can lock up all of your
Okay. Yep.
cases.
Yep.
So there's yeah, Sierra Hippie says the social situation in the city of Long Beach has gone down. I would say that is a very accurate
That's
assessment.
right. Yep.
Yeah, and you know, I remember when the A&A did a show up in Detroit, and there was concerns at that time. When I went up there and the A&A had done their show, I'll tell you what, I never felt safer my entire life at any show, because within a 10-mile radius, that place was, you had more off. Yeah, the time I went up there, I sadly
What about
disagree with you.
Chicago? How was security in the Chicago show that you're going to?
They don't ever do it in the bad places.
Okay, so the Chicago Central State show, the show is in the host hotel. So if you stay in the host hotel, you never have to go outside unless you want to go out for dinner. The A&A show, the host hotel is connected to the convention center via a catwalk, or the other hotels are directly across the street, and there are plenty of police on the street. I have not felt out of place at either one. The Detroit show that Robert mentions, I felt a little sketchier than he did, but then I'm only half his size.
I can assure you, the one in Thompson, Maine, there won't be any theft. I can promise you that. They're probably.
You just have to worry about getting trampled by a moose.
Well,
I agree with Adam Jam.
hitting one on the way down.
Baltimore used to be a good show, but like he said, not so
I
much
used to-
anymore.
For years, I went to all 3 Baltimore shows, so I probably did 30 or 40 Baltimores in a row. And the first time I ever went to Baltimore, before I did it on a regular basis, I took a cab. There weren't Ubers then. And the cab was going down the street, and I looked out the window and I saw chalk outlines on the sidewalk and wondered what I got myself into.
No kidding.
So from there on out, Baltimore improved, and it got to the point where I felt perfectly comfortable walking around the Inner Harbor. Towards the end, I would no longer walk around the Inner Harbor alone. So,
well, and there's a
you
show
have
coming up
to-
in Ohio too this summer, correct?
I'm sorry?
There's a show coming up in Ohio this summer.
Yes, the one at Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's
And
what I've heard. I heard it's a really good
We're
one.
looking forward to having many of you come and visit us. So
And you
that
do
was
have a lot of
me.
YouTubers that do, and people in the chat that do come to that show, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hope to. Yeah. John Jacobs says he felt safe at the Pittsburgh World Fair of Money. He went alone. I did also. Pittsburgh was a very good venue.
That's true,
I was
Stephen.
very happy with that. But like anywhere, you just have to be smart about what you do and careful about what you do.
And observant of your surroundings.
That's correct. Yes.
Do you pack? Can you pack? Can you bring them?
I put an extra pair of underwear in yes, I pack. It depends on where you are. It's hard to take something to Chicago.
I was just going to say Chicago.
So,
I didn't think you could.
No, So, Robert, did you get the email I sent you? That was for Nick to see. So, yes and no, depending on where you are, how you're getting there, what you're doing. But in the scheme of things, many years ago, I was at the Fun Show, and there was an armed robbery. There you go, Nick.
What is that?
That's a 5-shot group. That's a 1-inch dot.
Oh.
Okay. So
did you did that?
yes, I do that on a regular basis.
I'm impressed.
Thank you
Look
very
at
much.
You.
So, I was at the Fun Show. There was an armed robbery at the Peabody Hotel at the entrance to the hotel. The next morning, there was somebody on the floor said, well, I wish I was there. I would have, and I'm like, well, what are you carrying? And he says, a snub 38. I says, you were just going to get your buddies killed because no. So I would say all of the people that think they're going to be Dirty Harry out there, no, you're not. I have shot extensively in leagues and in competitions, and I'm under no impression that I would ever be Dirty Harry and be successful. So, as he did say, man has to know his limitations.
Well, I mean, that takes a lot of training and
a lot of bravado. Even with a lot of training, people have a lot of bravado. And if you've never been in the situation before, you really don't know how you're going to
you don't know
react.
how fast you would react.
And most of the time, something happens and is done and gone by the time you realize what's going on.
Right.
So,
but just don't come to my house because of unannounced. Might meet my 38.
I will call first.
Yeah, because my
I will
closest
wait.
neighbor is the moose.
I will wait for an invitation. So,
Sure, come on up.
no, you're coming down first.
Yes.
Yes, I was like, we're going to have that great show here in Cincinnati, Ohio, everybody. We'll have Joe Durbin, Brandon's going to be here, Brad's going to be here, Nick's supposed to be here.
Nick, maybe.
I'm actually really thinking about it.
Going to be here. So you're going to
I
have
wanna see
all
Diane.
the stars. Guys,
Nick, what do we need to do to convince you to be at the show?
Not that I'm really considering this. I want to see Diane.
What do you need? A GoFundMe page for?
Oh, I always need a GoFundMe page. No, I just have to my work schedule. Just working that out. Yeah.
Just quit your job. Then you won't have work schedule problems.
I will. There's a possibility that there might not be any work, so we'll just leave it at that.
John, I don't understand. I hope I found the unclaimed property. I don't get that one.
Because
got to come back with a little more information, John.
Okay, Floor, you giving this away? I think Floor's giving this away, everybody.
Uh-oh.
That Geiger?
Yes.
Nice.
Floor's giving away a Geiger counter?
If you want to call it that, it'll count, I guess. I don't know. Brad, does it count?
Absolutely. It counts for an ounce, I think, doesn't it?
1/2.
Oh, 10 grams.
Yeah, it says 10 grams. I apologize.
10 grams. But I mean, people love those. I love them.
Well, there you go. That is for next week for giveaway. She wants to give this away next week.
Very nice.
Now, let me see. I'll find something to throw in there with it, guys. Because we want to, since we've got it. Well, I won't say that. Oh, you know what we could do? I got a perfect item because of the topic we would now. It ain't gonna be perfect, but it'll be close enough. One momento here. You can put it somewhere else.
Keyboard.
I don't know. Put them up.
Thanks, John. I'll look into it.
Does Paul Hampton? Are you going Paul Hampton?
Yeah, Robert, you're muted, but we see a 21D Morgan.
Very nice.
Is that next week's giveaway?
Yes, I wanted to take in Beans. This is the only Denver minted Morgan out there. I'll give away. I mean, guys, I think it's been cleaned. I just got it. I don't know where I got it, but I mean,
I cleaned it last week before I sold it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But there is a little D right down there, folks. So that'll be our giveaway for next week. Now, what's the giveaway? You guys figure out, what do you want to do for a giveaway phrase? In fact, here, take it to Joe Durbin. Joe, what's going to be the giveaway word for next week? There's 2 items. The Geiger and the Morgan will be up for giveaway. So, Joe, you determine what it's going to be.
Morgan. Morgan, nice and easy.
No, see, Joe, you should have done something that would have made Robert's life miserable, like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Making your life difficult too.
Well,
Or that.
trying to keep him on my good side right now.
Nick, do you know what I was referring to?
Yes, I did, but I'd never watched the movie all the way through. I had to watch it in parts. It's too long, and I don't like the singing and dancing.
Just do it, Morgan. Do what for?
I don't
Yeah,
like movies like
Morgan,
that.
Joe.
I get bored.
Yes.
Give me
But
that, Morgan.
Some of the greatest entertainers of our lifetime.
I mean, I watched it in like segments.
you led a very
Kids
good.
today have no attention span.
No, I mean, my sister and everybody loved it, but it was just too long. I got bored, and then I was like, "Please get over this song already." Too much.
Maybe
What
you
do they
better
call
not.
that?
I might kill
What?
you.
You never got those drugs that they gave kids for that PT?
I never did. I was out. No, but my mother would send me outside a lot.
She was hoping you were going to get eaten by a bear.
Yeah, she's like, "Nikki, it's time to go outside and play."
Oh, by Bigfoot, Brad. Bigfoot. Bigfoot's up in Maine.
I have one in my backyard.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
What was you smoking that night?
Well, Paul Hampton just came out. Woodstock rocks.
There you go.
You know anything about that, Nick?
I watched, yes, a documentary on New York. Woodstock is in New York.
In segments, because it was boring and you didn't have an attention span.
Kind of. Or eaten by an alligator.
How many alligators do you have in Maine?
Wow. They found one on the streets of New York. Somebody had it as a pet. And
Did you see the video? It was on a couple of days ago on Yahoo that there was a alligator walking across the street in Florida, and they wanted to move it, and this guy just walked out and grabbed it and picked it up, and it was kind of interesting. Guy picks up like an 8-foot alligator and walks off with it.
I saw the one where he went into an old lady's house. An alligator did, trying to get to the other pond on the other side, and he was like scratching at the door. She opened it, and here comes this alligator, and she had to call, I don't know. I used to live in the swamp of Waycross, Georgia. They had alligators there. If you go into Swamp Park, right when you were parking in the parking lot, you better be careful because there could be an alligator right there. State Park, you can't just.
What I love about when I used to drive tractor trailer, I was down south, and I don't remember what route it was. I think Route 10 or something. But I'm running down there, and I'm used to West Virginia and Ohio where they got deer crossings. Down there, they have alligator
crossings. I know. And as Brad said, up here you'll see deer crossing, and then you'll also see moose signs like "Beware of moose."
Yeah.
Because if you hit one of those going down the interstate, it's not gonna. The moose will be hurt, but so will you.
Oh, if you hit a moose, good luck to you.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll be in the middle of the interstate, and if they don't want to move, they're not going to move. So you got to be careful.
Oh yeah, I was as I say, I was down south driving tractor trailer, and a lot of I was in the slow lane, and it was just bouncier than heck. I moved over to the fast lane because they had just did some construction. It's nice and smooth. No sooner than I got over in the high speed lane, and there was probably a 10, 12-foot alligator. If I'd have ran over that thing, I'd have had a bad wreck. I really would have.
I imagine. Yes, they found it in the sewer, a gator. And the guy had it for a pet for a long time, and then when he couldn't handle it, he just let it go. Which
They
is
need
love.
to, yeah, they need to stop letting people have exotic animals, period. There's too many that are not responsible enough. Look at down in Florida, the
Pythons.
yep.
And they're overtaking, and I mean they're coming further up north, so people are finding them further and further up north.
I have a python, Nick.
Oh my gosh, I'm not fearful of anything, but I hate snakes. The only thing I think snakes are good for is a good handbag. Good handbag and maybe some shoes.
My python came from Colt.
From
He's talking
where?
a gun, honey, a gun.
Colt.
Oh. Okay, well, I didn't know that they called guns pythons.
You don't know about snake guns?
No? But I know about moose guns because my husband has one of those. It has to be a big gun to shoot one of those guys. They're good eating too. I'm telling you, they're better than deer if cooked right.
Moose are better than deer.
It is. It really is if it's cooked correctly.
I would have thought it would have been awfully tough. I wouldn't have thought of moose. As
No,
being
they're very lean, but if you put it in your crock pot and I put a few bouillons in there and you slow cook it, I mean, it'll just break up just like anything else will.
moose barbecue.
No, I wouldn't do that though.
No?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes,
you want to get it to where it's,
Look at John's comment there.
Oh, John, where?
Yeah, John Jacobs at 447 there.
John.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Jeez. He got one, and I didn't mean to do it. I was trying not to. I was always trying to get it. And I think I did it one other time, and I was trying not to. But
one other time?
Yeah, I think when you said something. And I was like, oh, crap, I didn't mean to, because I know John was waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get in trouble because of my facial expressions, but
Somebody caught an eye roll there.
My granddaughter has the best eye roll.
she's probably a smart young lady. She's probably eye rolling at you.
She is.
Smart
she has
kid.
a lot of experience there, Nick.
I
Lots
mean,
of
I have no
experience.
Brad for long, and I think he's gotten the most eye rolls ever on a stream. So I'm just kidding. So I'm sure she's a very smart little girl.
What was our result for the poll for next week's topic?
Wheat penny had 41%.
Wheat cents. So to the
Okay, Nick's going to talk about wheat cents next week.
we're going to be discussing wheat pennies.
We'll be here.
Ads.
Oh, hold it. That's going to be a short conversation then, Robert.
Okay,
There are no wheat pennies.
you're right. Wheat cents.
Wheat
I
cent.
apologize. So we will be discussing wheat cents.
Basically, this coin is just worth it.
Okay, so
Yeah, there's no problem.
you got.
$16.
I don't
We
know,
got to
man.
get Joe back in here about something. Joe, what's going on over there, man?
I'm good with the
Getting
pen.
attacked by a dog.
Those are worth $28 each.
Okay,
Does the dog collect coins too?
My store-
Yep. She does.
So does she collect the Isle of Man cat series? Is that one?
No. She's tried to chase a few down, but
How
Oh,
old
okay.
Is she? How old is she now? Because she's big dog.
it's like 7 months. She
7
collects
months?
howlers.
$16 altogether.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's not a dog. That's a wolf.
Yeah, she doesn't know the difference.
Close. Okay.
she's just a young pup so far.
Right.
So she's still got a couple, months to grow. She's gonna get
Yeah.
Anything there of Rarity or Scared?
She's got a lot of
Well,
growth.
why if she eats coins, you know what comes next.
Yeah, for sure.
You're
That's
darn right.
then after that happens, Joe has to launder his money.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just thinking that Nick could have some toned coins.
Ew. But I do recall something very interesting that Robert taught me about the Morgans, that they used to throw them down in wells.
Yep.
And I think of that every time. I'm like, I wonder if there is a Morgan dollar. in my
Hold
mouth.
on. I'm calling old wives' tale here. Why would they throw Morgans in wells?
Purify the water.
There's many of actual facts that they have found many of Morgans in wells for the simple fact that it does take, and it will kill a lot of different bacteria.
You're right, but most wells are flowing water, aren't they? Not just standing water.
Yeah, mine is.
Okay,
It
so
doesn't much every well would have to be, yes, but it's still.
okay,
I,
that's fine.
I just look it up. That's all you
I
do.
think
Look
it's
it up.
interesting. I thought that was interesting, and I'm like, I wonder how many. I'd love to be able to go to an old well and find some organs.
Well, we'll put you down in your well.
Well, my well
hold on.
was new because
We'll
we
hold
don't-
on to your feet real tight.
I don't. Mine's like, you know, it was just newly dug. So
Scarcer that has a rare date. Yes, sir.
And I do believe there's still people that, I do know they have some of the stuff with the silver is, I think, extreme. However, there is well documented scientific proof that silver has beneficials, or it does something to different diseases, or
Well, it's an antibacterial,
it's
like
an
you said.
antibacterial.
That's why the really old trach tubes were made out of sterling silver.
And they use
Well,
it in
and that's
medical
also-
equipment all the time.
that's also why we had silverware back in the day. It wasn't just because it was pretty.
It's because of antibacterial.
Right.
Now, Frank asked if an organ is tossed into a well, is it considered cleaned? Which organ? Liver, kidney, heart?
I don't
I
get
bet
it.
he probably meant Morgan.
Oh, okay. I wonder what color would come out of a well, though.
I would think it would depend on what.
If
You
it's
know,
sulfury water.
Well, I can say, yeah, you got sulfur in some waters,
Mhm.
iron in other water. I mean,
Right.
it depends on where you're at. What was the occupier, or the occupier, whatever they call it? You know,
Up
yeah,
the water.
it could be, Frank, could be come back black. It would depend on what was the.
If there's a lot of sulfur nearby, that'll have a tendency to keep it
Ours
going.
up here would be sulfury, but mine isn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you go down to Florida, and that, what do they call it? The pool where the
Oh yeah, Fountain of Youth in St. Augustine. I've been there,
The
and I have
cesspool?
drank from that. It is sulfury. It really stinks, but
it smells like a bunch of damned eggs that's been
it's
spoiled.
really kind of gross. Yeah. So I drank from the Fountain of Youth, and you know what? I think it's a myth.
You'd think.
I think. I mean, so you know, don't buy the water from St. Augustine and think you're going to have the Fountain of Youth, because I think it's a myth.
Polly
So
Moon
who
did
was
it.
searching for the Fountain of Youth? Nick?
Spanish.
What was his name? The famous.
St. Augustine.
Okay, that's fine. On Staley.
Who was
On
it?
De Leon.
And
On
so-
De
De Leon.
Leon.
But there was also a lot
There you go.
of
Frank knows.
pirates going through there too, and shipwrecks, correct?
Yes, but the explorer that it was going and tramping around in the
Yes, because it was
Southwest US
Spanish.
was
I
once.
believe it was Spanish territory before it was United States, right?
Very good.
Thanks. I know a little bit, Brad. A little bit.
Well, I understand. I'm just trying at times to figure out,
What I do know?
what the breaking point is, So we do know that the breaking point is right about Scooby Doo for today.
Yeah. 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 I know it's gonna do it.
Man.
It's a dog. See?
I thought it was a cartoon, but okay.
It's a cartoon, but the dog is named Scooby Doo in the cartoon.
Ruh-roh.
See?
Yes, Paul. If you put sulfur in around your silver, it will turn black.
It will.
Black is the ultimate color that your silver.
Black
will-
is terminal toning.
Yes, thank you.
Terminal.
I knew there was a word, I couldn't think of it. Thank you,
Well,
Brad.
that's okay. I agree, John. That's correct.
Thank you.
Oh no, John! I think Joe
U-tub.
Durban. I roll.
In the U-tub.
Oh, well, I didn't know Joe Durbin eye rolled. I'm gonna have to check this out.
Say what?
Robert just said that you had the
It's
best
rare.
tobacco.
It's rare. That's what makes it the best.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, mine isn't. Mine used to be rare until
Now it's a every minute occurrence.
Oh. Okay, we
Did
got.
you just roll on the dog's tail, Joe?
No, she's just flippy.
I think you just rolled back on the dog. Yeah, see? Well, come
she wants a
on.
treat. She wants a treat.
Sure. There we go. Oh,
She wants to play or she wants a treat.
She
yes.
does want a treat.
Yeah, see?
Any dog wants a treat all the time.
Puppy wants a treat. Hi, Peppa.
If
That's why I
were
don't have a dog because it
There
was
you
like having children. I don't want to clean up after
That's how you get rid of her.
a puppy.
Somebody cleaned up
I have-
after you, Nick.
I have had dogs and I've had children, and dogs are much better, in my opinion. They
Oh,
listen
well.
better. They love you longer.
Well, we had a dog and we had to put her down 2 years ago. It was a little Maltese and she was so stinking cute. But yeah, you have to pick up outside after them. And she was very
Hey,
Oh,
Nick,
you-
OC has a message for you there. You
She
Oh,
don't
my
get it. She
She
don't
doesn't get it. She
Nope.
doesn't get it all. Oh my
Is that Mork and Mindy? I don't know. I don't know what it means.
Nanu, no.
Okay. I mean, I try.
You are very trying. Ah,
There you go,
I'm
Frankie.
surprised you don't watch Ted Lasso. That is an excellent show, Brad.
Real quality.
What show?
Oh.
It's Ted Lasso. He's on Apple TV and it's about soccer. It's about a football coach.
I should. One of these days I'll do that.
Oh, Brad, it's hilarious. I'm telling you, and it has your type of humor too. You would get it.
You're hilarious. Well, come on in, Charlie. My only friend in the world just showed up.
Well,
Charlie, how are
Charlie.
you?
Hi guys,
How much does he pay you to be his friend?
dinner.
Oh,
There now.
He's in
I
from
would make
Florida.
sure
I
you
have
go
to
the
buy
most
dinner.
expensive thing on the menu.
We're going to Chinese tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So he doesn't have a good Chinese restaurant in Florida. So we're
Nice to
going
meet you, Charlie. Where in Florida do you live?
You guys.
Yeah.
I'll stay out of your way.
Where in Florida? We like you better already.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You're invited anytime.
See, there you go. You're invited now to Ohio and to Florida.
Well, I need to know where in Florida.
Venice,
Close to.
Sarasota,
I know
where
that.
NGC is.
I know where
So
that
you
is.
can write it off. You can say you're going down to NGC to drop off coins, and
I like 5-star. Does he have a 5-star place where I could stay? I like the 5 stars.
you live in Maine. There isn't a
do.
5-star thing in Maine.
Have you? We are called the Vacation Land, and yes, there is. Go to Bar
No,
Harbor.
it's called hell by those of us in the lower 49.
Have you been here, Brad?
No, actually, Maine is one of the 7 or 8 states I've never been to.
It's a very.
I really do
beautiful
need
state.
to get there.
I suggest summertime in Bar Harbor, where all the rich people
Summertime.
live.
So, which 2 weeks of the year is that?
Oh, God. Probably in July, August. No,
Yeah, Frank, I agree. 5-star lobster. I would go there. I need to go there for the lobster.
I mean it's delicious. Right off, fresh off the boat.
Okay, kids.
Here's
I
Robert.
know y'all having fun, but look at your watches, look at your clocks, look down the bottom right corner of your computer. It is 4:59. So we've got to take in, as much as I hate to, we have to take, and we have got to end our discussion for today. Don't forget, guys, go into the comment section at the end of this podcast and type in Morgan in order to take and be entered to win a 21D Morgan or a Geiger, 1/10, I believe it is, Geiger, for next week at the podcast. So we're going to take and I don't care, go to somebody. And there you go, Nick. You're first up.
Tonight, 6 to 7 on my channel, you'll see Surfer and I. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Hey, thanks, guys. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central, have an auction. Friday, 2 o'clock Central. Thanks, guys, for being in here. See you next week.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Those of you that are going to the Central States Coin Show, remember, I will be at table 1400. Looking forward to meeting some of you and putting a face to a handle. And I won't be around next week, but the week after, we'll be back and have some more fun. So thank you very much. And Robert, back to you.
Okay, everybody, listen. Next week, it is going to be a little iffy because I don't know. I'm not certain what we're going to do. I believe we're going to do a podcast on the wheat cents. So we hope to see you there. As Joe Jordan says, tomorrow, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, he's going to be having an auction on his channel. Fordelina put down his a link to his channel, guys. Go there, subscribe to him. Joe's a great guy. He has a great auction site. And tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on YouTube's Coin Up, me and Fordelina will also have a sale. So hope to see you there. And thank you, everybody, for joining with us. And we will see you tomorrow, but we'll also see you next week at the podcast. And guys, if you happen to be looking at coins between now and then, happy hunting. Goodbye, all.